We'll start with Myles Garrett, our Myles discussion brought to you by Gametime. If you want to see Myles in action, you can do it this Sunday when the Browns are at home taking on the San Francisco 49ers. And if you're going to go to the game, you better get your tickets on the Gametime app. It is fast, easy, with a 100% authentic ticket guarantee, plus all the fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay at checkout. Just download the Gametime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, that's promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, and go. Download Gametime today. But I'm going to take this graphic here. These are Myles Garrett's last 4 games played and his statistics over that 4-game stretch.
Yes.
In those 4 games, it's a 5-week span because there's a bye week in there, but in those 4 games, he has 19 tackles, 16 tackles for loss, 13 sacks, an NFL record in a 4-game stretch, 17 quarterback hits, and 3 forced fumbles. That would be a career season for most pass rushers. This is a 4-game stretch for one Myles Garrett. He set the record. We were talking about it on the watch game yesterday. He might just be the best player in football, and it may not be that close. That's how good Myles Garrett is playing right now.
Easy money. He's the best player in
I don't know how you compare Myles Garrett to a quarterback. I think it's a silly conversation to have.
No, it's a great conversation to have.
Well, let me ask you it this way, okay? Because initially I said, okay, if you're going to give me one or the other, right now, believe it or not, I'd take a 39-year-old quarterback. I think Matthew Stafford is the MVP. He's running away with it.
Yeah.
But I'll say this. This is how I can get around to that.
Yeah.
There is nobody better at their position right now than Myles Garrett is at his.
No, that's true.
That's true.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay. So, I'm with you.
If you're
I can't
saying
get the best in the NFL.
Do I think Myles Garrett is probably the best football player? I think he's probably the best football player.
He is absolutely in the
But
conversation.
in the end, it's impossible to compare a quarterback and a defensive lineman.
Yeah, you're weighing impact.
You're judging the quarterback on way more things than you're judging a pass
He
rusher.
impacts the game more, but the only person that impacts the game more than the quarterback, in my view, and the salary base
is the person who
chases the quarterback.
Well, but
and Myles Garrett is definitively better at that than anyone.
But then it would go to, does he affect wins and losses?
Well, that's why I go with Stafford ultimately. That's why.
But nobody.
I don't think there's a player in the league better at their position than Myles.
You can't clearly argue that anybody's playing better at their job than Myles Garrett is right now. You can't clearly argue that.
I think that's an easy one.
This stretch, especially this stretch of 4 weeks, is right there with Josh Gordon's 4-week stretch from 2012 or 2013.
I think it even eclipses
So where is he at now? 17?
18 sacks.
Can he get to 30?
That's the question.
Like, it's insane to ask.
If he stays at this pace, he will get to 30.
Yeah,
no, he's not on pace for 30.
No, he's on
last
pace
4
for
weeks
26. He's on pace, I think, for 26.
But the last 4 weeks, he's on pace for more than 30. Based on
I mean, it's absurd.
That's like the guy that hits 4 home runs in 2 games.
It's absurd to ask.
I think you could argue it's the greatest stretch. Again, it's hard to compare other positions, but it's arguably the greatest stretch of football by a player in a 4-week stretch.
Yeah, you're hard to beat it.
It's just it's absurd.
Definitely by a defensive player.
Think about this guy. Let me give you this stat. There's besides Myles Garrett, there are 235 players in the NFL that have at least a half a sack. 235 players. Only 5 of those 235 are even within half of his total.
That's insane.
So there are 230 players that are more than...
He's just head and shoulders better than anyone else at his position.
It's just nuts.
Yeah.
He's 5 sacks ahead of the next guy. 5.
But so really, I think the question was, is he the MVP?
Real quick, Jay, on that.
Yeah.
He has 13 sacks in his last 4 games. Right. The 49ers, who do play tonight, have 12 sacks as a team in 11 games this year.
Brian Burns is second in the NFL with 13 sacks. So if Myles Garrett's stats only counted the last 4 weeks, he'd still be tied for first in the league in sacks.
That's insane.
He's the best I've seen. I mean, I've been trying to listen, and I haven't seen all of them. I'm telling you, I'm just saying he's the best I've seen. It's not even just the sacks he's getting; it's the almost sacks. It's the sacks where the guys are just. Geno Smith 3 or 4 times said, "Oh hell no, I ain't doing this." The fact that he does it in every way possible, and the fact that he just he was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna get this strip sack and end the game and go sit down and drink Kool-Aid. Myles Garrett gives you an opportunity to win games with rookie quarterbacks. The Browns have started how many rookies this year? Two. Like, they're going to probably end up finishing the season with a rookie quarterback. This is the reason you keep Myles Garrett on your team, because he legitimately gives you an opportunity to evaluate other people. And he's just, like, watch the faces of other coaches. Watch Pete Carroll and look at him and say, listen, I got Max Crosby, but he's not even on the same playing field as Myles Garrett. I can't run what I want to run. Geno Smith is mad at everybody.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't run my stuff right now because this guy.
And he's such a havoc creator that he's just making things so much easier for the other guys. And because there's more talent around him than he's ever had, those guys are now playing well. Mason Graham, I thought, played his best game yesterday.
Lights out.
He was great. He was
Mason
all
Graham
over the place.
lit up Ashton Genty.
He was.
I know he
Mason Graham.
Mason Graham's really coming into his own.
A+ football game. A+. And this the guy who said never draft Mason Graham. Mason Graham yesterday showed nastiness. He collapsed the pockets time after time. He ran. He was down the line of scrimmage. He was moving. He was disruptive. Mason Graham played out of his mind.
And so did Malik Collins.
Malik Collins
He's
played
had a magnificent season.
out of his mind.
I mean,
2.5 sacks.
the Browns should re-sign him.
Good gracious, he played well.
Yeah,
Listen,
he made himself some money, right?
Isaiah
been a monster.
McGuire. Isaiah McGuire said, oh, you going to give Alex Wright some money? Where my bag at?
Yeah.
I like that energy. He had sacks. I mean, listen, Tyson Campbell had dang near 10 tackles.
You know, it's funny.
He's a corner.
As we talked about, Tyson Campbell got burnt on that first play.
He did.
And Geno didn't take advantage of it, and then he just played lockdown the rest of the game. Meanwhile, Greg Newsome, I think, got benched in Jacksonville.
He did get benched yesterday.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Hey, Tyson Campbell,
This was a
man.
good trade.
Denzel
Looks like.
Ward was covering a tight end all over
Denzel
the
Ward's
field.
unbelievable. I mean,
Bowers, like,
to be able to handle arguably the best tight end in the NFL like that,
I mean,
he
Tough
did such a
task.
good job.
I assumed 10 sacks was the franchise record. It's
No,
not.
11.
I just looked it up.
11.
What is the
11?
NFL record? Because they kept saying
1984.
in a
like
game.
14 or something.
Somebody got 14 sacks. That had to be like old school.
Yeah, 50.
In recent memory,
1984 was
in 23, the Seahawks had 11 in the game in 2020.
Because they kept
Memory?
saying
Well,
that
the
the
Browns
Browns
had 11 in
had
84.
11, and that was their record. They kept saying that during the telecast, and I thought, damn, they're not saying that's a National Football League record. I would think that would be the most in a game.
Most sacks in a game by a team.
I mean,
NFL.
Mike could do that off camera.
I want to do it on camera.
Hey, he's like,
I know we're so professional here on
I
air,
got to get my
Jason.
AI game off.
You guys on your phone every 8 seconds, but we're so professional we can't.
I have hardly been on my
Eagles
phone.
You
in
are on your phone.
1952 had 14 sacks.
See.
That is the team.
But the
record.
sacks weren't even official stats in
Deacon
82.
Jones is somewhere saying I had
that's
96 sacks in
The Giants in
1972.
2007 had 12 sacks. in the game.
Man.
So
The
it's been
Cowboys
12.
in 85 had 12. The Bears in 84 had 12. And those are the only modern.
there's been a
eras
lot of
since the
12s.
sack.
That's crazy. That really is crazy.
And you know, that's why I always say, man, look.
Thank you for pointing that out, Jason. I could do that off screen.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what I'm here for.
The way they played, they obviously got a boost. The energy level was different, and I'm just waiting to see how that translates coming up this week. Because here's the thing: we laughed and joked about how many wins they can get if they continue to play like that.
If that defense does that.
You're not
don't
playing the
need much-
Raiders again outside of the Titans.
No, I know.
but,
That's the thing. We got to slow the roll a little bit.
I mean, but let's be honest. They did that to the Packers, right?
Yeah, and they've looked good.
The Dolphins have been putting it on people lately. The Dolphins been throwing up all kind of
we
points.
woke the Dolphins
We
up.
woke
Browns
the
are a
Dolphins up.
6.5
They
point
fired
dog.
their GM and took off. Like, what's this?
I know. GM has a lot to do with it.
Browns
was
are a
like-
6.5 point dog this Sunday at
Who
home.
is?
The Browns.
6.5.
Half-point dog.
The Niners are still dinged pretty bad, aren't they?
They're
they got-
7-4.
They got some injuries on defense,
Is
for
this
sure.
They get Purdy's back.
Is
They don't
this
get any
is this a bigger underdog game than when they was playing with PJ Walker in 23 and came up with that win?
I would think so.
No,
I would think they were a bigger dog back then.
Yeah, the Niners were better then.
Yeah, they were way better.
Yeah, it was.
Mike, what was the line on that game?
What was it?
Well, it was 3.5, and then we found out that Sean wasn't playing, and now we have to find out what the line closed.
probably
at.
went to
Hold
like
on.
10.
I figured Mike knew from memory. What
Yeah, that was a miraculous game, and the defense in
That
that
was.
game played
They won
stupid.
it. They won it.
They played ridiculous.
If the defense plays like that now,
It closed at 9.5.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, this is just open. It could climb.
Yeah, it could move.
It takes a lot to move.
The
from
Niners
6.5
also play
five.
tonight.
That's
so-
true. From
Yeah.
six,
Yeah,
without
so
an
they catch
injury.
a break. Second straight week, they get a team with a
Yeah.
short work week.
But also that line could change a lot depending on how
Yeah, but it's not going to go
the
3
Niners look
points.
tonight. So
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think it will either. Yeah, I don't think it will either.
It might go 1.
Maybe.
unless the Niners have a key injury, it probably wouldn't change one way. I don't know.
Who's out? Who's out for them?
But hell, you beat the Niners, then you
Defensively?
get the Titans,
Yeah.
then you're at 5.
tell you one sec.
Well, they only have 12 sacks on the season, so obviously they get no pass rush.
But the Browns, I will say this, Browns have to, listen, I'll give the credit, offensive line and the scheme, they were better in pass protection, and it was surprisingly better. However, if they don't run the ball better, it's a different story. They have to run
They
the
And
ball.
it'll
can't
be-
figure
it-
that out.
They have to run the ball
And
better.
Myles Garrett with his toughest test of the year because he faces Trent Williams this week.
Right, so we'll
that's
see.
always a matchup.
It's always a matchup.
These are the defensive players currently on IR for the San Francisco 49ers. Some names big, some names small. I'm going to read them all. Trey Tomlinson, Taron Jackson, Jacob Robinson, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Yetur Gross-Matos, Mikael Williams, their first-round pick this year, Tatum Bethune, Robert Beal Jr.
Jeez,
right.
that's a lot of
That's a
guys.
lot.
That is
There's
a lot
at
of
least
guys.
three or four big names there.
You said injured reserve?
Like, yeah, they will not be back. Have zero chance of playing next year.
Oh, yeah, that's tough
Good.
as heck.
We need
yeah,
the
yeah,
help.
okay.
You know what was scary yesterday?
Stay on the
They
side.
showed the shot from behind the quarterback when Myles Garrett lined up over center. And I honestly remember thinking, I don't know that there's anything I've ever seen in a football game that would make me more terrified than that.
He just threw the ball out. Listen, he just threw the ball out of bounds.
I would want that play to be over. Just somebody commit a penalty. Let's just
Yeah,
change
yeah,
this up. I can't have that man right there.
Myles Garrett playing middle linebacker, and he's a defensive end, right? He then just runs right down the face mask over the center and collapses the pocket. Geno Smith was like, "Oh hell no!" He's like, "I'm gonna throw this out
And
of
another
bounds."
time he was kicked out wide, and he had lateral pursuit so quick that he tackled the running back before he got to the line of scrimmage. I think that was his first tackle
Yeah, I
for a
mean,
loss
that's-
yesterday. It's just like
That's been one of the next level of his game. I mean, he's been so much better. He's been more impactful against the run
I agree.
than he had ever been in the past.
You know what I think he's doing? I think he's reached this level of greatness where he's actually listening to his critics. He wanes as the season goes on.
Right.
He's not. He could be better in run support. And I think every criticism that people have launched at Myles Garrett, he's just deflected one after another this
shut 'em
year,
all up.
and he's put himself in a class
And he stayed
all
healthy.
by himself.
He's always had every year like there's a nagging injury that affected his play
Right.
later in the season. For now, knock on wood, whatever. I don't know if there's any wood. That's not happening.
This is LeBron James-esque 18 playoff run, where you just playing with a bunch of dudes and Larry Nance and Rodney Hood, and then series after series, it's the Pacers, it's the Raptors. He just put everybody on his back, and he's like, bro, LeBron is getting like 40, 12, and 13 a day.
It's like the playoff run without the playoff run.
Right, it is. Right, like it is. Like, you know, there's no playoff run in sight, but this is a historical run.
It is just incredible. Yeah, the only thing that I can think of in modern Browns history is the Josh Gordon stretch.
Yeah.
Do you
Where
want to
they
see
also
the stats
lost.
Bull, you want to see the stats from that stretch? I
Yeah, it
actually
was
made a
absurd.
graphic.
He had
Did
over
he have
like 800 yards in
receiving
4 games.
in 4 games?
We'll pull up the stats. We actually made a graphic.
Is
for
it
this
an
because
NFL
crazy.
record? Most yards
I don't know. I
receiving in a
think so.
4-game
It
stretch?
was a record. I think it was a 2-game receiving record.
Well, he had 500 yards in 2 games.
Yeah,
Or close to it. Go ahead, Mike.
Steve, whenever you're, yep, there we go.
7 targets. So he averaged 9 catches per
That is
game.
so crazy.
103, about 180 something yards,
Man, what could have been?
and they went 0-4.
Hey, let me tell you something.
According to Google, that is the most receiving yards in a 4-game stretch.
I would imagine that's true.
Let me tell you something.
That's crazy. The
Josh-
Browns won't have a receiver with those yards this year.
Josh Gordon.
They may not have a receiver finish with those yards this
Josh
year.
Gordon.
That's what I'm saying.
He had listen, this dude had Hall of Fame skill set. This dude, Josh Gordon, used to catch the ball on slants and walk away from the entire team and wouldn't look like he was running hard.
You weren't covering the Browns at that time, were
No.
you? So in those years, Dustin and I were at Browns training camp every day. And we had seen, and that was kind of early of our show, but of all the years I was in Browns training camp every day for like, I don't know, 8 years, whatever it was. And until Beckham and Landry, all that time, like every receiver that came in the Browns camp, be like, this guy's a nothing. He's a nothing. And then Josh Gordon, if you just watched him in practice, you were like, holy moly, what is happening
he was
here?
Different.
This guy was obviously the whole drugs and everything, but
It's a shame.
that was incredible.
Can we wrap up the Garrett
He
topic
wouldn't even
by
run.
getting?
He would glide.
Yeah.
Effortlessly.
Yeah.
Jay, we talked last week about this. I don't see that there's a path for Myles to be the MVP.
I don't think so.
because
Not
the
on a-
team
not
has
on a
3
3-win
wins.
team.
Are we all in agreement there that he can't win the MVP?
No, he's not going to
He
him.
wouldn't. Even if they had a winning record, he probably wouldn't win the MVP.
See, I think if they were, I disagree with that.
I mean,
if they had a winning record,
If he
because
has-
he's having a record-shattering year.
If he has 30 sacks and they go to the playoffs, he's got a case.
yeah.
But short of that,
Who's been the only NFL MVP that's a defensive?
For a season, I don't know there's ever been one.
been a
If
long
it was
time.
by Lawrence Taylor.
No, there's been.
I
I don't
but
think there's ever.
Has
Oh,
there
there
been-
has
I
been?
think so.
Has there ever been?
I know there's been
MVP?
defensive MVPs of Super Bowls.
Nah, just for the season.
I think there has
I
been.
don't know.
but I don't remember for sure. It's not going to happen.
Lawrence
But the
Taylor in 86.
Yeah, he's
And
probably,
Alan Page in 71.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not going to happen.
He won
again.
80. Let me say this.
he's of that ilk.
You know how y'all writers do. Y'all writers.
Look at me. I'm not a writer.
Nah, y'all writers they get emotional, right? And when one person starts saying something, they'll float it out and say, you know what? I thought I would never vote for a defensive MVP, especially on a losing team. But let me tell you something. If Myles Garrett gets 30 sacks, you got to think about it. We was on here chanting one more sack.
Yeah.
This dude is giving you sacks at will. If he gets to 30 sacks,
he needs 2 a game for the rest of the season.
all bets are off, bro.
Yeah,
All
he's not winning the MVP.
30?
Yeah, no, I don't think he is.
He won't get a single vote.
30?
He
Listen,
may get a vote. He's just not going to win it.
hey, listen.
Now, if the Browns go 9-8 and get in the playoffs and he finishes
still
with
wouldn't
30
win.
sacks,
So
then,
you saying
then I would say maybe, but they're
you
not
and
going
Tyvis,
9-8.
you and Tyvis need to go to dinner and talk this out. because-
so you
So
saying
I like to do that because I love reactions. I love
Now,
it.
hold on.
And I love when I say 9-8. Jason's
More-
eyes roll back into his head and he was officially dead.
more likely Myles Garrett has 32 sacks or the
30
Browns
32?
Hold on. Whoa, you
My
didn't get
God.
32 sacks for Myles Garrett or the Browns win 9 games. What's
Easy
more
32.
likely?
32, 100%.
There you go. Myles Garrett MVP. There it is. That's how you line that up.
That's how you connect the dots.
That's how you connect the
That was
dots.
good.
Do you know something
Well
else
played.
is true? If you match all 6 numbers on the Powerball, you are a billionaire.
And then, by the way, if I become a billionaire, I will retire every one of you. You will never have to work again. And that's a promise. Hold me to it.
Well,
I love that
What
King.
if some of us want to work?
Listen, it's a stipulation. No,
I'll take you up on
You
it.
take me up on it.
Let him
Jay,
keep going.
Jay,
You want his half?
in 6 months, you'd be like, what do I do now?
I'll figure it out.
Oh, Jason Lloyd, he ain't
I'll
getting
figure it out.
Listen,